everybody, it's Stacey here. I am on Natural. That'll be discussion for part of the conversation tonight. I have the wonderful Miss Grand Texas, Brandy. She was crowned like 3-4 weeks ago. And she's going to be on Juanita Maldonado, and she's going to talk all about why she does this crazy thing, pageantry. So stay with us right here on Pageantry Now. Hey everybody, Stacey. I'm so excited for tonight's show. It's nice to be able back in the studio and doing shows and being part of the conversation. Of course, if you join us, please make sure that you make comments and ask questions. If you want to share with your friends now, let them know that we are live. We have a grand title holder on, Miss Grand Texas, and she's going to talk about her vying for the crown of Miss Grand USA. Before we get to that, so you know, Pageantry Now is all about positivity and pageantry, highlighting the amazing things that title holders do using a crown and a sash. And I am Stacey, and the host tonight. I am on Natural because I had an allergic reaction to some makeup yesterday, and because of that, my dermatologist said no makeup today, which I think that brings a bigger conversation. So we might bring that tonight. Hey, Steph, how are you? All right, well, let's talk to the person that you're here to talk about. So bring your friends, get a beverage, ask questions, be part of the conversation, and let's meet Juanita. Let's go. Hey!
Hi, yes, I'm so excited to be here. I'm very, very excited. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
It is my pleasure. Do me a favor, introduce yourself to everybody.
Yes, of course. So I am Juanita Maldonado, your newly crowned Miss Grand Texas. I was crowned about 2.5 weeks ago and counting. I'm keeping track. And yes, I'm just very excited to share my reign with everyone and share a little bit about myself.
That is awesome. I do mine on Instagram, where I actually do a week update on Instagram. And it's so sad that I'm counting it down, because it gets in your head, like, you know, you've only got a certain amount of time to be. And I was trying to figure out, I was like, how many weeks has it been since you were crowned?
Yes, and the only reason I'm counting is because I'm going back, logging my community service events and all of that stuff, and I'm keeping track. And I said, 2.5? What? Time flies. It doesn't even feel like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I know. And because you win the crown, and then you kind of like have it's pageant hangover. I don't know if everybody else calls it pageant hangover, but there's that place where you've won, it's in your head, you've won, and you're like in this, and then all of a sudden this immense exhaustion hits, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah. No, I get that. Let me get the light. I don't know what happened with the light. Technical difficulties here.
That means it's going to be a good interview.
I know, right? There we go. Hopefully, if that doesn't work, let me know and I will turn on the other light.
Okay. You know what? You look amazing. So it does not matter. There is not any amount of light that changes how gorgeous you are.
Thank you so much.
And honestly, that kind of fits in. I told you we were going to have a little bit of conversation about this. Because I think we spend a lot of time trying to be very perfect in pageantry. Mm-hmm. And I mean, of course, like there is a level of, especially, again, you live in Texas, so there's a level to being a queen in Texas. Having been a former Mrs. Texas and knowing the importance of that, I get it. But I think that it's important that we kind of talk about like how I feel the most important part about being a queen is what you do with your title and how you make that the community service part of it. And it's the hardest service. So I don't usually go right out of the gate and go, let's talk about that, but let's talk about what you're doing. And the more important part about it isn't how perfect you look, what you do, but what you're doing and what that is all about.
Yes. So in Texas, it's become, I mean, not just in Texas, but in general, Texas is one of the biggest pageant states, as you mentioned. You know, it's all about the big hair. They say there's this saying that says the bigger the hair, the closer to God.
Nearer to God, yes.
Yes. So, it's the big hair, the hair and makeup done and all of that stuff. But I think deep down inside, we're more than that. We're not just about the pretty face and what you see on the outside. Hundreds of these women that compete have a cause that is near and dear to their heart, their platform. You have women who have collected over hundreds, thousands of dollars for the charity of their choice. You have young ladies. I know I have several younger sister queens who are as young as 6 years old, going to their community and making an impact. So it's all of the ages, it's more than what you see on the outside. And I think we need to stop being so hard on ourselves because we don't always look picture perfect. Let's face that. That's the reality. It would be awesome if I looked like this every single day,
There's
but
not a bad and you look like that. Come on, let's be real. Honestly, and it takes work.
yes, it does. I think I was talking to you it took me about 2 hours because I'm a perfectionist. I'm a stickler for having everything look exactly the way I want it to be. But that's the thing, those 2 hours we could be using to do something else. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love getting dolled up with the hair and the makeup and everything. But sometimes I think we do fall into the pressure of society and to meet society's norms.
Right. And anything and there I think not just as title holders. I think as women, we're kind of put in this place, especially. I'm not going to say I didn't feel it years ago without social media. With social media, there's so much more pressure about that whole how perfect can we possibly look and how perfect can we make our lives look. And I'm lucky that my director now is like, you know what, you are beautiful, so be beautiful and be yourself. And so this reign has been really special for me because I do daily moments where I go natural. I don't have makeup on. I don't have my hair done. I'm back in my backyard just talking about stuff that's important to me, and really talking about my platform. So, and I think that we need more of that. We need more of that on the gram so that the kids see, you know, we're doing things, and that's really where Pageantry Now really came from, is because you see somebody get crowned and 364 days later you see them crown somebody else, but what did they do in the middle of that? So
Exactly. Yeah, that's very important. And I really like that you mentioned that there's always younger generations on social media. I feel that now they're getting younger and younger and younger.
yes,
So they're seeing everything we're doing. And I think we as I hate to say it, right, but as older generations, we need to set the example of what these children are looking up to.
yeah, no, I agree totally. I love that you get the vibe. Because they're not everybody gets that. Not everybody feels that importance, and there really is a level of responsibility. I always say this is a huge job. It is a huge responsibility, but being a role model is a big part of all of this.
Mhm.
So, what are the charities? What's your platform? Let's talk a little bit about how you are really making an impact, because I think that is really the heart of all of this. Is why do we do this? I mean, yes, do we want prizes? Yes, do we want fortune and fame?
Yes, no, and you're right. I think a lot of people don't see that we have causes that are near and dear to our hearts. For example, mine is called Empowering Mindsets. I've been working with it for the past, I want to say, when I started pageants 7 years ago. So it took me a couple of time to develop it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know a thing about pageants, so I had to do my research. So I've been with it for 5 years. It started off, so my mission is to empower and inspire others to be the best version of themselves, despite the difficulties we have gone through in life. So it started off when I was often asked to go to schools, to middle schools, high schools, and even elementary schools, and speak to children about the difficulties that I had faced. For example, bullying, coming from a low socioeconomic status, all of the little difficulties that I had faced in life and how I overcame them and how I was able to be in front of them and talk to them about who I was and what I was doing. So I remember little girls from elementary school come up to me and tell me with tears in their eyes. I actually had a couple of young girls come up with me with tears in their eyes and tell me, you know what, your life story changed me. I'm going through that. And I feel that if you can get through it, then so can I. And for a little girl to come and tell you that just hit my heart very deep, because, I didn't think much of it. But in the moment when they told me that, I said, you know what? I'm making an impact. This is what it's all about. So then, unfortunately, COVID hit. So that put a halt to visiting schools. But then I said, okay, how can we make this still keep growing without putting a halt? Because it's something that people need to know about. So that's when I kind of launched it on social media. So now I've expanded it further. I reach out to teachers, students, pageant queens, doctors, anyone that you can think of that can possibly have a story. And we're sharing their stories because that's when I realized that the more stories we share, the more experiences that we know about, the less we feel alone. And the more we can see that, you know what, if they can overcome it, then so can I. So that's basically my platform, all about empowerment.
Oh, I love that. I feel maybe you should come work for me because that's, I mean, honestly, that's that I think that's such an important part of this whole process. The reason that I really wanted to start Pageantry Now, and Marcelo was with me the moment Pageantry Now was born. Your director, he and I were both on the red carpet at Miss Universe, and standing next to each other. We didn't know each other. We knew nothing about each other, and we've been friends ever since that moment, because we both found that we were standing on this red carpet and didn't really get like what that moment was going to be. And meeting Miss Universe, meeting Miss USA, meeting the judges, meeting those people that we had this, oh my gosh, I just can't imagine. And then recognizing that they were real people, very approachable, very real. And he and I were geeking out for about 10 minutes. And then we both went, wait, hold on, let's do this. And it was really a cool moment. And I think that that's so important because he wants that in his title holders too. Like he really wants you to be approachable and to be that person that can go, a little girl can look up to and go, I want to be her, but also not be afraid of coming up to you and giving you a hug. I mean, obviously not in COVID, but you know what I'm saying is that there is something about being beautiful, but there's something about being beautiful in your heart. And that was the night that Pia Warspot got crowned. So it was a pretty chaotic night for everybody, but I love what Pia says, confidently beautiful with a heart. And I really believe that that's what pageantry is.
Yes, so, and I completely agree with you. I'm a big fan of Pia, actually. I love her, everything that she's about. I didn't have, I've never had the pleasure of meeting her, but just by the way you look at her, the way she carries herself, her aura, you can tell that she's a very approachable person. And that's where I've learned a lot that, it's not just about wearing a crown and a sash. It's about being approachable. It's about being relatable and wanting, basically to make that impact. So Pia is someone that I really, really look up to.
She is a remarkable human. There's no doubt about it. So there's a couple of shout outs. So Stephanie said, hey, gorgeous. Sindel said, hello, gorgeous. Hey, gorgeous. And then Sindel and stuff are talking. So hello. And if you've got questions, please ask them. Make sure you keep them PG because we do have teenagers that watch. I will ask them if they are, acceptable. So please. Oh no. The man, the myth, the legend is in the house. Yay, Marcelo! Hi, I love you.
Hi. Right. So here's the thing. He hates it, but I call him Mr. Marcelo, and he hates it. He tells me, call me Marcelo, but it's because growing up, I was always instilled.
You're Texas.
Yes.
I was always thing.
Yes, the yes sir, yes ma'am, Mr., Mrs., and I come from a Mexico background. My family's all from Mexico. Señor, señora, sí, usted. So it's kind of, but I'm working on it. I promise I'm working on it.
It's okay. It's Marcelo, it is a Texas thing. And honestly, I've been Miss Stacy my whole life. So like I started teaching, when I was 19. And so I have been Miss Stacy. My friends call me Miss Stacy. So and when I lived in Texas, it became a thing. Like it was, I am Miss Stacy no matter what. Stephanie says, where is the pageant this year? So where's Grand USA this year? Do you know yet?
So yes, it'll be at the same exact location as last year. So in Chicago in June, third weekend of June.
And Marcella says, who's your favorite director?
Anyone but Mr. Marcelo. Hey.
Hi. Okay. I love you too.
Yeah. Yes. Right. No, at the pageant, I was actually talking to Mr. Marcelo. Out of all the, out of the directors I've had, he's been an incredible director. He always made pageant weekend run very smooth. He's very down to earth. He's very relatable. He's someone you want to be friends with. So I'm just saying, you might be my favorite.
And then Nick is always, take carrying everything.
Yes. And then
I
Aaron.
have Mike. Mike is my assistant. He's my husband. But it's the same thing. Is like I feel bad because Nick and Mike kind of get the other side of it, but Nick likes to be in front of the camera too. So, all right. So, Sindel wants to know: do you say y'all? Yes, I even say y'all.
Yeah, yes, I do. Sometimes I catch myself. I'll go, for example, when I competed in the Belleza Latina system, it was in Florida. So I met young women from the UK, from all over the place, and I would say, "Y'all, how are y'all doing?" And then they would tell me, they would tell me, "I like your accent." To me, I don't think I have an accent, right? You would think that people from the UK have an accent. But they would tell me, "I like your accent." I'm like, "Thank y'all." You see how it just comes out.
It just happens. And honestly, because I lived in Texas for 10 years, so I say it naturally.
Yes.
If I'm in Texas or with other Texans. So you'll find out as we go farther into the evening, I will start to have more of an accent. So it always happens. So, okay. So I am good. We were talking about Pian, about how you love Pian, you look up to her. So I'm going to ask you the question that the very first time I asked it to a international queen was Pia. No pressure. But there no pressure. It's good. So, do you like frogs? Why or why not?
So, okay, here's the thing about me. I'm a huge animal lover and I like frogs. I don't have anything against them. Funny thing is, for example, I'll see a cockroach, and you know how people tend to want to kill cockroaches? I always tell people around me, no, don't kill it. Let it live. Let it live. I think of that little meme. I don't know if you've seen it, but where there's a meme that says, "Don't kill any animals. You don't know if their parents are back home waiting for them." Something like that.
Oh my gosh.
So I can't do that. But in terms of frogs, I like frogs. I don't mind them. I think they're so cute. The little eyes, I don't know. I like frogs. I don't have anything against them, or really any animal in general.
Yeah, no, I think it was like the reason I asked the question is we used to do it as a prep on PageantryNOW. Like we would do it as an interview prep question. And so I was live streaming it at Miss USA, and one of the viewers said, "Well, ask Pia the question." And Pia went, No, I don't like frogs. And the reaction was so honest and so emotional that I was like, it became a tradition. So I have asked every Miss Universe since Pia that same question. And now so you're part of the family. And I like that you like sapos. Sapo verde.
Yes, I do like the sapos. I'll hear them here. It rains a lot. So every time it rains a lot, you'll hear the ribbit. I'm like, ahí están los sapos.
And that was the other thing when I moved, because I live in Miami. So when I moved from Miami to Texas, and I was in North Texas, so it was a little bit different. Like here in Miami, you kind of have to speak. I mean, soy gringa. Like there's no way to get away from it. So but I had to learn to speak Spanish, and so the first person that was Hispanic, I walked up, said, "Hola, mucho gusto. Mi nombre es Señora Stacy," and they went, "This is Texas, sweetheart. We speak English here." And I went, "Oh crap."
Now, if you're in South Texas, the very point of South Texas, it would be a different story.
Totally different story. So I found, because I was living in Dallas, so I was very, and everybody just went. And then my students got to know that when I would speak Spanish, they'd be like, "Oh, she's mad." I mean, I say things like mariposa, and they go, "Oh, that's a bad word."
I think it's just the way you say it with the very strong.
Mariposa is butterfly, for those of you that don't know. So there, yeah. All right. So now let's see. We got some other questions. Let's see. What is your favorite color and why?
Oh, okay. So a lot of people would think pink because I'm always wearing pink, but actually I'm a big fan of orange. So orange is a very bright color. I'm very happy, bubbly, just like myself. But orange has a deeper meaning to it. So I mentioned my platform earlier, which was empowering mindsets, but I don't know if you know this, but orange actually represents strength and endurance. And that's why I decided to make it part of the logo of my empowering mindsets as well, because that's what I wanted people to have when overcoming these things. I wanted them to have that strength to overcome it, to keep going, to fighting for whatever situation they are in, because eventually it will get better. So orange is kind of, it's near and dear to my heart because it does have a fond significance.
There you go. See, of course. There's, I mean, and I had no idea orange is not on my palette.
I love the color orange. I actually have a fun fashion in the color orange, and it's my absolute favorite.
Well, and you've got that color, like you've got the bronze skin and you've got the beautiful brown hair. So like, I'm sure, did you wear it at BL or no?
The orange one, I wore it to Texas. Okay, so here's a fun story about that one. So before it was a fun fashion, it was actually an evening gown. I wore that evening gown, the orange evening gown, to Texas Belleza Latina when I won. And then we transformed it for the last system that I competed before Grand, which was Regency, into a fun fashion. So yes, it was kind of both in its own time.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So Sydney Salinas says, what are you looking forward to the most about nationals?
So Sydney is my sister queen. She's the former Miss Grand Texas. So hi, Sydney. I am actually looking forward to pretty much everything, getting to know the girls. But I think, well, I've heard it's a very jam-packed event, a jam-packed pageant. And I'm really, really looking forward to it because there's photo shoots, there's sightseeing. I've never been to Chicago, actually. So I'm really looking forward to that in general, everything.
That's good. I mean, honestly, like, I always tell people I've been a national title holder several times, and I always tell people, yes, I have been to 42 amazing states in the United States and lovely airports and hotels. I have not seen anything else.
That's all it is. Yes, and all of my traveling has actually been thanks to pageants.
Exactly. So like, make sure that you book yourself a little bit of time on either end so that you can have the opportunity to be able to go and really enjoy Chicago. I love the Chicago airport, but I can't really tell you a whole lot more about Chicago.
I have always wanted to visit the little bean. I see so many pictures taken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the places I want to go to. Anywhere else, I really don't know. So I would have to look it up.
And it'll look really fantastic with that national crown. So, it's important to have that.
Fingers crossed.
It can happen. You just have to wish it into existence.
Manifest it, yes.
So Sindel says she just started wearing orange. So there you go. Sindel. Yeah. All right. So so you said 7 years ago you started competing in pageants. Why would you do this crazy thing called pageantry? Because I say it over and over and over again. This is a crazy sport. It is not for the faint of heart. It is hard to imagine why you want to go in front of a bunch of strangers and go, yes, I am not good enough. How? Or I am good enough. How?
Exactly. So here's the thing. I started pretty late in the game. I say pretty late because most of the people that I know started when they were 7, 6, 4 years old. I started when I was 17. So I'm going into about 8 years. I'm 25 right now. So I had no clue what a pageant was growing up.
You're so old.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Technically getting there. I'm about to hit my 30s, but let's not talk about that just yet.
You've got 5 years. You've got plenty of time. There's a lot that happens between 25 and 30, so you're good.
Thank you for the heads up. But yeah, so I started at 17. Growing up, I was a very big time tomboy. I grew up with sports, soccer. I'm the oldest girl, so all of my bonding time was with my dad. So I played, in the dirt, running in the street, barefoot. So I played soccer, ran cross country. Those were my best years. And even in cross country, I wouldn't really hang out with the girls. They would always put me with the boys because they would tell me, you're too fast to run with the girls, so we need you to train with the boys. So I wasn't girly at all. It wasn't until my junior year of high school that my English teacher, Miss De La Garza, she asked another young lady and myself to come into her room. And then she said, you two young ladies are very well spoken. You're very bright, intelligent. I think you should do this. And then she puts the flyer of the Miss Westico pageant, which is our local pageant, our city pageant here. And I kind of looked at her like, what is this? Me? Are you sure? Next to me was this girl, she was beautiful, tall. And then I was like, me? Are you sure we have the right person? So she said, yeah, just go ahead, think about it. So I took the flyer home. I discussed it with my mom. I did my research. And my mom said, well, yeah, if you want to do it, let's go ahead and do it. And I'm the type of person that likes to give herself a challenge. So I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and try it. I did my research. I joined the Miss Westico pageant. And that year, I remember there was 18 or 19 girls. I can't remember. But
Wow,
I did place
that's
in
a
the
big
top
local.
yeah, I placed top 5, and just by watching YouTube videos, I would watch YouTube videos on how to walk and the onstage question. I had no idea. So I learned everything from there, and since then I have been doing pageantry. So it's something it's a fun story to tell because a lot of people are like, "What?"
Well, and yesterday I interviewed Danny Latimer, who is now Ms.
Galaxy Wells?
Galaxy
Yes.
Wales, and she said the same. Me as well. I was a tomboy. She was a tomboy. Like for her, she was one of her friends challenged her to do it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go do the Miss Congeniality thing." And with me, my mom put me in a pageant. I was like, seriously, like I don't want to do this. Like, come on, this is. I mean, I loved watching Miss USA and Miss America, and Miss Universe, but I was like, I'm 5'4". Like, yeah, no. And my first pageant, I was first runner up, and I thought that's crazy. Like, how?
Yeah, no, you see, I didn't even know about the Miss Universe, Miss America, Miss USA, or anything like that until I hit 17 years old.
Well, and Maria Torres and I, so the director of Galaxy and Biesa, Maria and I competed Team USA the same year.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
She went a whole lot farther than I did. I did not make state, but she did. So it was like I was like, oh my gosh, Maria, I cannot believe that we have both been in this like forever. So I think it's cool. I think it's very, very cool. So all right. So are you enjoying this? Do you find that it is something that really being like now that whole because it's two really big dichotomies being a tomboy going into this girly girl world. Do you find that it's fun and exciting, or is it kind of like, wow, this is good? But I mean, I know when I was 25, I still was really intimidated by the experience. So how about you? How do you feel stepping into that?
I absolutely love it. I don't understand why I didn't hear about this sooner. I wish I would have started sooner. This is awesome. I'm a big competitor. I love competing. I'm also very big on the adrenaline, but most importantly, I really like pageants because they have a cause. All of these ladies, like I mentioned earlier, they have a cause. But you know what? I love it because of pageants. I actually found my career choice. So growing up, I always wanted to be a marine biologist, but I cannot swim, so I figured I couldn't do that. And
Really?
yes, really. I can swim underwater, but not on
Uh-huh.
top. Yeah. So I say, you know what? Okay, this isn't for me. Then I wanted to be a pediatric oncologist because I love children, but then it kind of hit me that
It's a
I'm
lot of
very
science.
yes, I'm very sensitive. So, I wouldn't want to see a child go through all of the situation. So then I said, okay, what am I going to do with my life? So it was my senior year of high school. We were getting close to January. So I was about to graduate in May. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just had applied to college. So I chose communications. I was like, okay, communications for now. But then I really realized that I loved doing the onstage question. I loved doing the interview. I loved speaking in front of big crowds. It just gave me a pleasure. So that's when I decided to do broadcast. And I have a bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism. Yeah. So it was all thanks to
You just take this away. I'll sit back and you can like I Marcella says you better love it.
maybe, what? No, no, but I actually do. I love
I don't think I want to do this anymore. I'm sorry, Marcella.
I know. No, I love it. I adore every single thing. I love getting ready. I love waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning to do your hair and makeup for pageant day. I absolutely love every single thing of it.
And are you in broadcasting now? Is it something that you're trying to get a job, or are you still working? Like, what are you doing now?
Okay, so I've been in the sports industry. I'm more of a sports broadcaster. So I've
Got
been
it.
in the sports industry for about 5 years doing, internships and all of that stuff. I currently do work in the media relations department, which is also kind of known as public relations, for a basketball team, a professional basketball team. So in the basketball area, you have the NBA, and then below the NBA, you have the G League. So I do work with the RGV Vipers in the G League, which are an affiliate of the Houston Rockets. If I have any Texas people in here, you know the Houston Rockets is one of our big teams here. And then I also work for a professional soccer team. So you have the MLS as well, and then you have the USL. I work in the USL for RGVFC Toros, and they were formerly an affiliate of the Houston Dynamo. So I oversee all of that stuff. You know, I kind of basically write stories. I do a little bit of everything. So it's very fun to be in that sports industry.
Oh my gosh, like I can't even imagine. Like I certainly you can actually ask Marcelo, like that first Miss Universe, I had never been on a red carpet. I had never done an interview before. And it was purely by accident that I ended up being on the red carpet. And the next thing I knew, I had my hand around Emmett Smith's waist with the microphone going, and here I am with world famous number 22 Dallas Cowboys, winner of Days of the Stars, Emmett Smith. And Emmett turned and he looked at me and goes, wow, you know who I am? I was like, yes, I do. But like, I have been doing this my whole life. And I went, this is crazy. Like, I don't know. I don't know how people do this all the time. It is because it's also like I don't know if you feel it, but for me, like being on camera, I get done and I'm like, okay, that was great. Can I go to sleep now? Like it's exhausting. Do you have that same feeling when you're on?
Not at all. You know what? I wish I could be in front of the camera a lot more often. I absolutely adore it. I don't know, it just gives me that pleasure. It's very fun to have a conversation, to get to know people. Right now that you mentioned Emmett Smith, I actually had the opportunity to interview a former NFL player. He won 2 Super Bowls. He's retired now, Norm Evans. He won 2 Super Bowls, I believe 2 or 3. I'm not too sure. It was a couple of years back. But when I met him, he actually let me try on his 2 Super Bowl rings. Yeah, so I have a picture where I'm like this with my big old smile. Yeah, so that was an experience that I will never forget.
Yeah, when I was living in Dallas, my brother worked for the Cowboys. And so my first Mrs. Texas title, I got to go into the middle of Texas Stadium and do one of my headshots in the middle, like one of my photo shoots in the middle of the star. And I mean, little would I know that that became so iconic because that was the old stadium. So I got to do one in the old stadium, and then when they built the new stadium, I won another Mrs. Texas title and got to be in the middle of the new stadium. And I just it was iconic. I lived in next to the training center for the Cowboys, just outside of Irving, and so like I knew all the Cowboys. The city I lived in is where the Cowboys lived. All the Stars, all the Magic. No, not the Magic. Sorry, wrong team. Orlando. My
No,
brother. Sorry, my brother worked for the Magic and the Cowboys. I have to remember. Different. But
Yes.
but I didn't even know the only reason I knew that anybody was ever one of the team players or their wives is because they all drove up in black Escalades with tinted windows. I'd be like, oh, that's somebody I need to know.
You knew that was the thing that gives it away. The black Escalade with the tilted windows. You absolutely knew.
Is it? I mean, is it like that in South Texas too? Because that in North Texas, like, I mean, obviously, you have all of the major teams pretty much in the same little area. So, is it like that in South Texas as well?
Well, they don't drive the black Cadillacs with the tinted windows. You know what? It's a little bit. They have the tinted windows, but they drive, normal cars like everyone else would. I guess so they don't, so you kind of don't tell who they are. But no,
Yeah.
it's not really like that here. And we have some players from all over the place. We've had players who played in former NBA teams, so it's pretty awesome to be able to work with that and see that they're just normal day people like us.
Well, but I think that that's the one thing, again, going back to like that whole idea of being on the red carpet is that moment. And that was really that moment for me where I realized here I am meeting someone that I really looked up to. And I mean, I still hadn't met Miss Universe. So I was like, But okay, I'm here with someone that I consider to be famous, and he was just like so chill. And from that moment on, Charlie Puth was totally geeking out. He's like, I said, I know you from Ellen, and he goes, I know, I'm totally losing it right now. And I was like, "Well, you're gonna sing to all of 89 of these women. How do you feel?" He goes, I don't know. They're all walking around on my piano, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I thought, wait, Charlie Puth, who's been on Ellen, who's famous at this point,
Yeah.
and then he's like, nope, totally freaking out. And then even with Steve, like Steve Harvey, Steve's bodyguard was at the end of the red carpet where Marcella and I were. And so I started like talking to his bodyguard, started talking to his manager. They're like, you want to come on the show? I was like, oh yes, any moment, let me know. I'm like, how did this happen? Is that like the things that you dream about? Is that where you see like your whole life going, is doing things like that? Because Marcelo has Universal Misses, not to push anything.
Yeah. So hey, you're putting a good word for
There
me.
you go.
But you know what? I've loved the pageant industry, so I would love to do something like this. My big time goal is to be a sports reporter for ESPN. That's something that I envision myself doing. That's something that, I've tried to speak it into existence, and I'm trying my best to get there. But absolutely being an NFL, someone on the sidelines, and if that doesn't work out, I always like to have a backup plan. So I would love to do the same thing that I'm doing, but for a potential MLS team, NBA, or possibly go to another country. I mentioned earlier that my family's from Mexico. So you know what? I would love to go work with the Mexico national soccer team. It would be a dream come true. So I like to have different options, but that's what I would like to do. And of course, doing this pageant stuff, I would love to do interviews in the pageantry industry. So yes, anything that comes my way.
There you go. I mean, gosh, if I had known that beforehand, we probably could have gotten you to interview Andrea. Oh.
Hey, next time you know who to call.
Well, I mean, Marcelo can do it too. He can contact, but that would be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much internet access she has right now in Israel, but still, like she's such a great. I mean, again, that Mexican tie and trying to pull worlds together. So, like, if there was somebody that were, I mean, not that we want to count anybody out, but if there was somebody that you wanted to be able, like, would be your dream interview, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I know you mentioned Andrea. Andrea would be amazing because that's where my roots are from Mexico. But someone that I have always been intrigued by is Valentina Figuera, Miss Grand International.
Oh, yeah.
She took on the role of being an international title holder at the young age of 19. She reigned through the pandemic and did an absolutely phenomenal job at that. So you know what? At 19, a lot of people don't believe in you, especially as a miss. They're like, no, she's too young. She still needs a little bit more maturing. But she was so mature. She took that job like anyone who's in their 27s, 28s would have done. So that was absolutely phenomenal. And I love Valentina, the way she carried herself, the way she represented the grad system. So absolutely Valentina Figuera.
Awesome. Okay, well there you go. So now Marcelo, make that happen. So I mean, because like he has his media coming, so it's a call. So one thing we didn't get to talk about is competing in Grand and like the areas of competition, because not everybody's familiar with Grand, and it is considered one of the big five. So let's talk a little bit about the areas of competition. She killed it. Ah, there you go. I don't know what you killed, but you killed
I don't know, thank you.
There you go. All right. So what are the areas of competition, and what's your favorite area of competition?
Ooh, okay. So for the grand system, we do have personal interview with the judges, and we have evening gown, we have swimwear, we have onstage question, and then we have a speech. So this speech is dedicated to stop the war and violence. That's the logo and the slogan, for the grand system, which is stop the war and violence. And we have about a minute to a minute and a half to talk about issues that we feel need to be stopped. For example, I know Sydney last year had, for her national speech, she had immigration. This time that I competed around, we had some girls speak about bullying, domestic violence. Mine was on feminicides. I'm not sure if people are aware what a feminicide is.
Wow, yes.
Yes, so it's the for those who don't know, it's the epidemic of women being killed by men in intimate settings. This hit home because it's a major issue here in the United States that a lot of people don't know about, but especially also in Mexico. In Mexico,
I was going to say Andrea's working with it too. So, okay, sorry.
yes.
I apologize.
No, you're fine. Yes, no, you're fine. Yes. So in Mexico, every single state, there's 32 states in Mexico, every single state has reported a case of feminicides, and I think that's something that's very important, and I decided to talk about it because here in the United States it's kind of, no, that really doesn't exist here, but in the United States there was close to almost 3,000 cases back in 2019, so that's something that's definitely happening. So that's part of the grant system. There is also photogenic. I almost forgot photogenic. Those are the areas of competition. My favorite, I absolutely love, interview, but I also love on stage question. I adore on stage question. It gives the people the ability to see, because for example, in interview, only the judges get to know who you are and how you answer, but in an on-stage question, the audience gets to see who you are, what you're passionate about. So I really like on-stage question. And then of course, evening gown. Oh my gosh, evening gown. I love it. I love it.
And I would say, like, I mean, not to make any comparisons, but I think Grand is more high fashion as far as like the evening gown competition. And so it's, not that you are not well spoken, but obviously you have to be very statuesque. You've got there is a different feel to me with Grand. So I think that is, I mean, not that Miss Universe and Miss World and all of the others are not, but it's just like, I think that everybody kind of every system has their feel to it. So
yes, you're right. You're right. Right now, internationals are happening, and you just see the glitz and the glam. And Mr. Nawat announced recently that the stage is going to be like nothing before that any other pageant has ever done. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to incorporate in this pageant because, yes, like you said, it's very glitz and glam.
It is killing me that all of the majors are all within like a 3-week period. I'm like, this is crazy. And as someone that's trying to constantly do updates, I'm like, no, I can't. This is nuts. Like having Miss Universe, Miss Grand, Miss Earth, Miss USA, Miss America, like everything is in like a 3-week period. I'm like, okay, can I breathe, please?
It's crazy. No, it's crazy. I know Miss USA was last night. And then we had the national costume competition for Miss Grand International this morning. Miss Teen USA was this past weekend. Then we have preliminary competitions and then the final competition for Miss Grand International this Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So it's back to back. And then we have Miss Universe, like you said, and then Miss World is also going on.
Yeah, Miss World is going on. Miss World is going on right now. Miss Universe is December 12th. Yes. Miss World is December 16th. I'm like, come on, peeps. Can we pick a different month? That'd be great. Can we just like kind of spread it out a little bit?
They all wanted to do it the same exact month.
I mean, I get it, but anyway, but well, at least like you've got several months because you said that USA is in June. So for Grand USA, so you have time to kind of work it through, get the feel, work the title, really work on your advocacy, and raising awareness to feminicide or women's violence. And I will tell you that I was almost a victim. I was in my first relationship. I had the man that I was with put a 45 to my head and pull the trigger. And luckily the gun locked. But there is a good possibility that I would have been one of those statistics. And we don't talk about it here stateside. So there's a lot more discussion all over the world about it. But I think that here we try to keep things into a little box. Again, I think that goes back to that image of everything trying to look perfect and everything trying to be perfect. So that isn't enough discussion about it. So I think it's really important that you continue to have that voice and continue to be able to speak truth, because I think that we need to have more of that representation in the United States. I mean, it needs to be happening all over the world. Violence on women shouldn't be happening. Violence on people in general shouldn't be happening, but it is. And I think in the world right now, things have gotten even more violent and less discussions are open about it. So thank you for being a champion, because we need that. We need that. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then Marcelo says, and you're going to win at nationals. So there you go.
Manifesting. We talked about manifestation earlier, right, Miss Stacy?
That is absolutely correct. So we're going to have a little bit of fun.
Okay.
And we're gonna just do this or that. So you choose one or the other. Tell me why or why not you like it, or why you chose that, not why not. So
Okay.
you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So do you prefer chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla, absolutely vanilla. I'm not a big fan of chocolate. I like the sweet taste from the vanilla.
Oh, really? So are you like a French vanilla kind of or girl, or just regular vanilla?
I just like regular vanilla. It's always been my favorite. They always tell me that I'm basic because I like the basics,
Oh,
but I
stop.
love vanilla.
No, I like
I
vanilla
love
because you can spice it up too. So like
yeah,
if you
with anything, and it doesn't have that weird flavor. If you were to add something extra to any other flavor, it would kind of taste weird. Now that's why vanilla.
not basic, that is magical. That is classic. That is not basic.
Exactly.
All right. So do you prefer makeup or no makeup?
I'm a type of no makeup girl only because I'm always on the run. It's very difficult for the sports industry that I work in. When most people are sleeping, I'm kind of awake. So to be, kind of sitting down trying to perfect my makeup. So I'm a no makeup type of person.
I will tell you that I didn't say it earlier, but your makeup is perfection. Like you've got the perfect glow. You glow, and
Oh,
that just.
thank you.
Oh, Marcella's like looky 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 looky.
Oh.
But honestly, I mean, the work that you put into it is so. But I get it. Like there's that thing. If you've got someone that you've got to report on, and you've got to be up in the middle of the night, like, do you really want to be putting on a face at 4 o'clock in the morning?
And it just depends on the situation. For example, if I have a game late and then the next morning I have to be at work at 8 and I don't really have to do anything but be in the office, I'll be like, you know what, we're not doing makeup today. But if I know that I'm going to be in front of the camera or we have game day and I'm going to be interacting with, very important people, I kind of have to, put a face of makeup on. So it just depends on the situation. But I prefer a more laid back look. If you see me, you'll see me in my sweatpants and my tennis shoes whenever I can.
Well, and I think well, that goes to the next question. So question is, do you prefer to be dressed up or do you prefer to be cash?
Ooh, okay. So it's kind of hard. Growing up, it was always a casual look, but now I've kind of incorporated both. So at game days, you'll see me with my nice suit. The other day, I was wearing a green velvet suit, of course. But then my shoes, I was wearing white sneakers because we're doing a
Hey,
lot of.
that was a question at Miss USA last night.
Yes, it was. And I related to Miss Kentucky because I'm the same way. If we're doing a reporting and we're running around, we really can't be wearing heels. But if you're just in one spot, then you can wear the heels. But it just depends on the situation. But I like to be comfortable, but whenever the occasion merits itself, I love to get all glammed up.
No, and I mean, honestly, I've got these really cool sparkly sneakers that I got because I'm so tired of heels, and I don't go well anymore. I got hit by a truck riding my bike 10 years ago. So my spine is really, really messed up. So to put on a heel and wear it for more than 10 minutes, not my friend. So I got these, they're covered in jewels. Like they're Swarovski crystals, like totally. Like you see the heels that are covered and they have
Yes.
I have those in white and red and sneakers. But to me, I'm like, if I wear a nice suit or if I wear something nice, then
Mhm.
hello, I've got the bling. It looks so. Why can't I be comfy?
Exactly. That's what I say. And they always at work, I have about 7 of the bling shoes that you talked about in all different colors. And yeah, I have them in red and the neon green and nude and black and in silver.
Oh,
So
girl, I need to know where you get those. You're gonna have to send me the information.
I will.
All right. So see, but it is depending on the situation. But there you go. So I assume that then the next question is heels or flats, but then it's
Oh, it depends. Like I said, if you give me a pair of sparkly, I have a whole collection of tennis shoes. I love tennis shoes. Anything that you can think of. I love my sparkly tennis shoes. So it really just depends. Like if it's, I don't know, that's hard. I can't decide because I also have a lot of sparkly heels as well. So if it sparkles, I'll take it.
Mr. Marcello, she needs green sparkly shoes to match her green sparkly crown.
That okay. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was talking to Mr. Marcelo about it. I always like to match either my earrings with my shoes or a shirt with the shoes. Two things have to be matching.
I agree. I do know that with my crown, my new title, I went out and bought a whole blue wardrobe so that I can
So you can match it. You see, I'm not the only
that's the blue of my crown.
one.
Oh gosh, yeah. I love my director. So it's a good thing that this is my last title. So I will be retiring, and I know that this is that at least now the wardrobe I have looks good because it's royal. It works out great. Okay, so do you prefer to? This is gonna be the hard one. Do you
Okay.
prefer to do interview or evening gown?
Oh, you can't put me in that spot because I love both, but I love both so much. I would have to say interview. Interview because the judges get to know me. I get to share causes that are important to me. I get to raise awareness. And it's just very fun for them to get to know me, but also you get to know the judges as well. And it's kind of a little bit laid back moment. So when you go on stage, they're not as scary as they seem.
And honestly, I think that like going. I mean, honestly, I love interview, and I love on stage too. Like I think those are like the moments where, especially if you've got preliminary judges and the finals judges, like having that moment to be able to state who you are and take up that space, as Zosie says, take up
Mhm.
space.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important that in an interview you have that opportunity to be able to do that and establish those moments. And I used to be terrified of interview. Like it scared me. I'm autistic. I'm on the spectrum. So getting into pageantry was not something I would ever have done. Like I said, my mom put me in it. And I am so proud now to be able to go, well, I guess I did okay with figuring out this whole thing of being able to interview, because it's now turned into something that like I
Yeah,
love.
thank you.
I would never have thought that I would ever be doing this in a million years. So
Yes, and that's you took a chance on it, and look at you now. That's the awesome thing about pageants that you kind of take a leap of faith, a chance, and look at where you're at now.
it's crazy, right? Crazy. Like you never know. I mean, honestly, you're 25. I mean, not to discount being 25 because you know that 7 years, 8 years of you traveling through the world of pageantry, it's been huge. Like you've had some pretty amazing opportunities, great titles. Like this is
Mhm.
obviously a great space to step into and be able to become our next grand USA. uh and I love that. I love seeing that development too, is because you see women change, and I think that that is remarkable. And you clearly are wonderfully well spoken. Like you chose the correct background to go into in communications because you're really great at it. So
Thank you so much. I
uh,
appreciate it.
so do me a favor. I know we've talked about a lot. What have we not spoken about that you would like to be able to share with everybody?
Oh my goodness. So I think we've really spoken about everything, but I just want to share a little bit more about the grant system because I know you mentioned earlier that a lot of people don't know about it. So the grant system, it's been around since 2013. I It's been an amazing system that's been on the growth. Now it's one of the top 5 pageants in the world. Actually, it's competing with Miss Universe, with Miss World, the
Crazy, right?
Yes, the pageant systems that have been around for years. Grand has only been around for going about 8 now. So it's a pageant that has a very deep cause to it because the motto, how I mentioned earlier, said stop the war and violence, but it's not just about the physical wars going on. There's
Right.
more to it. And I think that's an ongoing problem. That's something that's never going to go out of fashion, because there's always going to be bullying, unfortunately. There's always going to be domestic violence, feminicides, and I really hope we can put a stop to it, of course. But that's what we need to bring awareness to. And I love that about the grant system because it's something that needs to be heard. It's something that we need to share more about because people are the difference and we as people are going to make that difference. So that's why I love the grant system and what it stands for.
No, and I love I mean, and especially with the pandemic, you find that there's
Mhm.
so much pent up anger. There's so much has happened, especially here stateside. Violence happens everywhere, but we are finding that it is becoming huge, um,
Yes.
and becoming because of social media. Obviously, we're seeing more and more moments of it. So, I think that it means that much more for the title holders to be able to have that opportunity to be able to share a voice, to how you can be able to help people stop violence and be able to make a difference. So, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for you. You
Thank
really
you.
are a beautiful beautiful, fresh air. I love it.
Thank you so much.
So how can we find you? How can we be able to hear more about you? I always say stalk you. I know that's not the right thing, but it's true. I mean, because honestly, we want to follow your journey. We want to see where you're going, how you're doing this. So,
So on Instagram, we have our official Instagram page for the Grand System, for the Texas Grand System, which is Miss Grand Texas. My personal page is Juanita with 3 A's at the end instead of just 1 A, Maldonado. And then, of course, I also have my pageant page, which is Miss Juanita Maldonado. So anywhere you would like to follow me, I would be more than grateful. I really hope I have everyone's supports going to nationals, because it would be awesome to be the first ever title holder from Texas to bring that crown back to nationals. Because yes,
so close.
I know.
We
Sydney
got
last
to
year did an
do
amazing
that.
job. Yes.
Oh, so yeah, no,
I
I know.
know. So hopefully, I can have everyone's support. You guys follow me throughout my reign, and hopefully we'll see where it goes from here. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And to everyone who tuned in, thank you so much for interacting, for taking the time out of day, to get to know me a little bit more. So thank you guys, everyone.
You are amazing. You're an amazing human. Keep doing that. Hold tight. I'm going to wrap up the show, and then I'll just talk to you a little bit afterwards. So stay with me. Let me finish it out.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Again, I love getting to know the queens, and we could have these conversations with the two of us and hang out, and that's fine and wonderful. But at the end of the day, the viewers are the reason that we do this. We want to share the stories of what positivity and pageantry is all about. Excuse me, losing my voice. So thank you all. If you haven't already, please follow us, like us, subscribe to us, follow our journey, follow what we are doing. We really appreciate it. We found out today that Sherry Hill follows us. Oh no. That was really fun for me. I totally geeked out. But we really want you to be able to get to know these queens better, know about their stories, be part of the conversation. If you would like to be interviewed, please send us a DM. We will get back to you as soon as possible. We are back to scheduling interviews. So we thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Stay safe. And that's a wrap.